Thank you guys so much for coming to this evening's special guest. Um, you might know me as Jasmin MacKinnon. I am the facilitator of the Optimal Self Society. I am the owner of Sogo Body Therapy, and I am a third-year Spirit Talker Tribe student. So I'm in the alumni group, which is amazing. And my special guest tonight is Sean Leonard, Aboriginal psychic medium from the Maritimes, has his own TV show called Spirit Talker. Season 2 is out right now, and he's recording season 3. And he has his own book called The Language of Spirit, which is an amazing story about his life and how he became a spirit talker himself. And he helps you kind of work through tapping into your own intuition, which is super cool. And he also has a course called Spirit Talker Tribe, like I said. And I just want to talk about that a little bit because right now the doors are open for Spirit Talker Tribe. If you want to take part in his community and sign up for his program. And I want to share my perspective on it because it changed my life. It really did. So the first time I had a reading with Sean was actually quite a long time ago. It was in 2013. And I had seen him live at the Forum, like at this smaller venue around then too. And I'm like, man, this guy's like, he's got some skills, right? Anyway, so then he came out with this course and I just kind of followed him all this time up until he actually launched this program. Anyway, so I joined in 2018 and I joined in 2018. And during that time, I joined in October. And each month there's a different module that teaches you different things. And it basically builds your foundation on how to tap into your intuition and your different practices basically on how to be grounded, how to meditate, how to pray, how to just create a practice essentially on being aware and tuning into this higher vibe way of life, basically, like just becoming the awareness factor I love. And it's so in line with the work I do right now with empowerment coaching. Anyway, so in 2018, I joined in the fall, and then not even a year later, I ended up losing my sister-in-law in July. And then 2 weeks later in August, I lost my dad. And then a month and a half later, I lost my mom. And if I didn't have this course under my belt, like I know I hadn't finished the first year, but it was already a really strong foundation and practice and trust and belief in connecting with my intuition and spirit. If I didn't have this under my belt, I don't know where I would be. I've always been plugged in. I've always been interested. I've always dabbled in all the different ways, like my cards behind me, like all my spiritual cards. Like I've always been intrigued with spirit and energy for as long as I can remember as an adult, even as a kid, actually. Anyway, so this is like the perfect program to shift me to the next level and help me really fully trust what was coming and how to even set myself up in a position where I had a practice and becoming more aware and in the position of being able to like see and receive and understand what was coming through. Anyway, so this course was a game changer. These 3 family members, these big hitters that I lost, I know if I didn't have the course, the understanding, the trust, and really, really huge was the community. The community in Spirit Talker Tribe is huge. And if I didn't have that foundation, I mean, I have all my friends and family and everything, but this community, because we're all on the same page and we're going through this journey together. And even though we're at different levels, we're all on the same page, understanding what we're growing through. It changed my life. It helped support me. And, you know, I've been riding this awesome Spirit Talker Tribe wave for just over 3 years now. And so I'm so excited to have Sean Leonard here. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say tonight. He always has some amazing stories. So stick around and enjoy.
Oh, there we go. I'll start over.
Start again.
Okay. Well, why I'm here, well, thank you for having me, Jasmine. Thank you for all of the people that came to join us. I'm very grateful for you being here this evening, just even hear me speak about my course. And me and Jasmine are good friends.
Yes.
And, you know, maybe a soul sister from a different mister, I say.
Right.
But we support each other in life, in our endeavors, of which we do in life as well. And when she's out there, you know, being her and all that she can be, because I mean, obviously Jasmine's awesome. So I want to support that. And I support people who are really engaged in life and getting out there and doing their thing, because it's important for me to help people as much as, spirit helps me in life. And I know what it's like to have somebody, help you in life and such. I've had a few kind of really cool people. One recently, John Holland, which I toured with him, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And since then, we've been good friends. I've only did 2 shows with him, but we're like best buddies now, which is kind of cool. Actually, he
Very
might
cool.
be getting me a Hay House deal. We'll see what happens. But they're looking at the book, The Language of Spirit, and which is super awesome, because that means the book has potential to get out there to a bigger audience. I mean, when you write a book, and the reason why I wrote the book, The Language of Spirit, it's not to get rich, because, when you sell books, especially when you self-publish, which I had done, it's more about getting your message out there and helping people understand the concept. And I think I'm still like 8,000 in the hole or something like that.
Oh my.
That's okay, because again, it's not about money all the time. Sometimes you just got to be out there and do what you love. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's what I'm doing with Spirit Talker Tribe. As my journey has unfolded for my life, and I know everybody that is here has their own journey and how it's unfolded for them in their own lives, and maybe you're moving into that space or place of life that you feel like that you're particularly guided in one area or another, or maybe it's a combination of areas. Like, Jasmine was a Reiki master teacher, and now she's teaching even in a much broader scale, in a much greater way, right? So, but for me, my whole life, I've always been this person, Spirit Talker. And it kind of unfolded when I was very young. And I didn't really know who I was as a young man, not until my 20s. And then things got a little odd or strange, I call them. And then the synchronicity started to kick in. And I think what you find in life is when you're doing what you're meant to do, or doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, or that you have passion for, and that you're in alignment with, then the universe will conspire with you. Everything just falls into place. It may take time, as I've been doing this work for 20, almost 25 years. But I mean, even though I've been here 25 years, I don't have a big book deal or nothing like that. Mm-hmm. I'm just out there doing my own thing. And what I love most, other than touring and having a TV show, I mean, these are all really cool things. But I think what I'm most proud of, or what I love to do the most, is actually teaching. And I love sharing what I know with people, because I mean, I can't even do one-on-one sessions anymore in my life because I'm just too busy. Literally, I don't know how many emails I answered the other day, maybe 200 and some emails the other day. I don't know how many I answered today. It's a lot. I don't have anybody helping me. I'm hoping that one day I will have somebody helping me.
This entrepreneurial stuff I meant to say is not for the faint of heart, right? Like it is a lot of work. And because there's so much passion in the work you do, you have the energy to kind of do it. I mean, we need to honor ourselves too, but yeah, like you are doing it on your own. And I don't know if people realize like the depth and the commitment you have to this work.
Well, I mean, I could be doing anything in life, but if you do what you love, it's really not work. So when you're answering emails or talking to people, it's something that is meaningful to me. It's something that I have passion for, and connecting the people is what this is about. I mean, I could walk around and not teach and do tours, do a TV show, and I'd still be okay in life. But I effectively can't reach people in a certain way anymore, and that is with helping people heal in regards to connecting the spirit. So that is why I developed Spirit Talker Tribe, is because I wanted to have some type of groundwork that I could put out into the world that would help people to kind of, if they so choose, to move into this path, which some people have gone through the course. Not everybody does. Some people just take bits and pieces of it and then they include it in their work, whether they're a Reiki master or a teacher in a different aspect, and they're working with their intuition as well. And I think it's an important part is to have those psychic skills available to us, even if you're not doing it on a full-time professional manner. It could be that you just give a message to somebody and you don't know how meaningful something so small could mean to someone, that you could change their life, change their day. You could actually save somebody's life. And I know the impact of that directly because I get to do it. I have done it for many, many years now. Hence, creating Spirit Talker Tribe. I want people to understand that. I mean, when you do stuff like this, it's not a fear thing. I mean, I've heard so many misconceptions with like psychic development and what spirits are to being haunted or evil spirits or demons and things like that. And that's not the space from which I operate from. I mean, is there some, and I'm going to swear a little bit here, there's some shitty ass people out there. Yeah, there is.
Yes.
And there's some shitty ass ghosts out there too. Occasionally you're going to run into one here and there. It's just like people. And, how do you deal with a person? How do you deal with a spirit? Do you approach it from a loving, kind, compassionate space, or do you approach them with fear as well? And maybe even a bit of psychosis, because sometimes people can like add things to stuff. And
right.
Next, you have a demon that is like possessing your home and throwing stuff around everywhere. And it could have been your dad the whole time, just trying to get your attention. And people just, when you watch movies and think that's what spirit world is, or what spirit is in general, then there's this kind of like misconception. And being like, in my life, like a very authentic, legitimate person who knows connection to spirit, because I've been doing this for so long and I've explored all these different places of life with spirit, because I wanted to understand spirit. I wanted to understand spirit connection. I wanted to understand who spirit was, what levels of energy they were in. I wanted to understand how they communicated. And I mean, that's the big part of what I teach, is like getting you to a place that you can be open, where you can feel good and safe and know how to deal with any type of energy that you encounter. It's all going to come from love if that's how you approach it. But I mean, if you're going around looking for ghosts and thinking you're going to find happy people, you probably won't.
Right.
And it's like going to no offense to anybody that's ever been homeless or anything, but if you ever go to the homeless shelter looking for people that are of sound mind, you're going to find lots of people who have mental illness. And how do you approach them if you don't have the tools or the understanding? And they're physical people, right? And they're blocked in an energy of life of sorts. I mean, that's why it's so important for a program like yours, Jasmine, is because, different people are blocked energetically in different ways. And it could be moving them to succeed. It could be moving them to empower them in life in some way, in whichever journey they're on. But my take is to help people understand the spirit world and my understanding of that spirit world, and from my experiences. And I have so many experiences. I could sit here and literally tell you stories about things that have happened to me, that I've been through for we could be sitting here for 8 hours and you'd probably still be listening to me.
Well, I think if you started telling all your stories for 8 hours, we'd all be like sitting on the edge of our seat, like, tell us more, because it's so fascinating, right? And as you grow through your course, I found that things just became more fascinating even in my own life, right? Whether it was around, being able to communicate with spirit or loved ones, or just intuition, that's like way, way stronger. And like you said, like with my course, empowerment brings you to a space of intuition as well, because you start trusting yourself. And that's a big part of trusting spirit too, right? Is like trusting what's coming, and it's coming from a heart-centered place.
Yeah, I mean, and knowing that, most of the time, like 99.99% of the time, that the spirits that are around you are your people.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about this. You were deceased. Might be cool to check on the neighbor for a little while, but if you're, that's going to get boring real quick.
Yeah.
You probably want to hang out with your kids. You're going to want to hang out with your mom or dad or whoever. You're going to want to be around the people that you love. So, especially if they're thinking about you, and there's a bridge that happens with spirit when people who are grieving or people that are living life think about the people they love. It's like a telephone call that you don't know that you're making, and it brings spirit into awareness around your space. And sometimes they're more heightened than others. You may just like think of your dad or your mom or whoever for a moment, or your child that you lost, and you have an opportunity to actually have little conversations with the people that you still love. And that's what also Spirit Talker Tribe is about. It's not all about getting out there, becoming a spirit talker or a medium in any type of professional way, unless that's what you choose. And it's a great place to start from. But if you just want to talk to your people
Right.
and know that they're with you and around you, and to be able to have an effective, kind, loving, connected relationship with them, that's what Spirit Talker Tribe also encourages as well. Because not everybody, again, is looking to be me on
Right.
TV as an author here teaching in front of people, and unless it is, who knows? But and I even would help people in that regard if I could, and I do, and I help a lot of people in my course that are moving further on that journey if they so choose to, and
Exactly.
I have some people like the Triangles of Light,
Yes.
girls that are in my course, which is like Elaine Hale and Ann Bennett and Vanessa Peckford. And those three girls are out doing, group sessions at people's homes. They have the best friendship you could ever imagine, because they're always together supporting each other. And I think they're like soul sisters as well, where they're out there doing their thing and they love connecting the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks to them, and they're out there healing people and working with people. And that's awesome. But again, that's not there for everyone all the time. And what you were saying, Jasmine, is like when you were going through my course,
Yes.
Spirit Talker Tribe is also, you did not or could not foresee, what you were going to go through while being part of Spirit Talker Tribe. But during that process, you've lost like some incredible close people to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, even having that whereabouts, or that knowledge about knowing that they're giving you a sign or a message, and knowing that you could speak to them, how to speak to them, it's a gift. It's a gift to help you through that grieving process, in helping you move into a place of like common still relationship with them where they are. And I think that's as equally as powerful as getting out there and standing in front of people and doing readings as well. And if anybody, for me, I'll just tell you a story. This is a new story.
A new story. I
It'll
love
probably
stories.
be my book, Danielle. I see you there. Because Danielle is going to be my future ghost author. In once I get back after Christmas, that's me and her going to get together and start working on that. So
that's the other beautiful part about this community is the connections, and you find people that can help you too, right? Like everybody's got their own little gifts in different ways, and even that's created this beautiful safe space to ask people for help in different ways. So yeah, Danielle being your ghostwriter, like,
yeah, I mean,
she's
super intuitive herself and very psychic, and I think I think she's if she's still available, she hasn't got anything too much going on at that point in her life. I mean, I still definitely would like to have her ghostwrite my second book, and I'll even talk about my second book. But first, where was I? Okay.
Story.
The relationship that you have, because I get sidetracked. I'll go off on a little tangent and I just won't stop. And I don't know, many of you are already maybe in my course, maybe heard the story already, but maybe there's some people that haven't. But, I still miss people. I love people that I miss that are a big part of my life. And one of the stories that in my book is when this all started to kind of really happened more big for me was when I lost my dad when I was 15 years old. And it was at 16 where I had this like incredible visitation with him. That was a dream, but it was an out of body like experience dream where I actually got to experience and see him in his true form, which is his spirit body, which he still looked like my dad, but for whatever reason, he was wearing his long white robe. And I thought, what the hell my dad be wearing this for? He was in the Navy and a hunter, smoked cigarettes and drank and cursed a lot himself. So, it's not something you see your dad walk out of
seemed a little weird, right?
Yeah, no, I was like, what the hell, Dad? Why are you wearing this long white robe? But anyway, he, his message was simple. It was just, make sure you tell your mom and you tell your brother that I'm okay. And I said, I can do that. But the whole time, I could only see this enormous light behind them that was like overwhelming. And I knew when I saw it that was reality. That was the real world. And somehow the world that we're all living in, we're all characters playing a part, fulfilling to something. And at that point, at 16 years old, I would have been happy just to check out and go back home. I didn't, I was happy.
Only knew the spirit world, right?
I would have left if my dad would have let me. I tried to walk past my dad into the light. And every time I tried to walk past him, he would get in my way. It's like he's standing in front of me. He's like, no, Shawn, you can't come here.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll just go over for a little bit. And he's like, no, you're not coming here. You don't understand. If you come here, you're not going to come back. I'm
Right.
like, no, I'll come back. I was like trying to reason with him, even though I was saying one thing. I was like totally lying to him because I knew if I could get my ass there's no way I'm coming back.
Go, yeah, I'll come back.
And then he showed me a few things. And one of those things he showed me was he gave me a flash for a moment in my mind. And this part isn't in the book, but he showed me what it would look like for my mom if I left. If I was to die at that moment for some strange reason at 16 and left my mom's life a year after losing my dad, my mom would go into a heavy depression and she would struggle hard. And it would be about 7 years that she would struggle through this really, really heavy. And there'd be times where she would probably like even think about taking her own life.
Right.
And
you can imagine, right? Like you can imagine if that were to happen, like being in your mom's shoes. So
I know, you know what? I not only did I see it, but I felt all of her pain.
Yeah.
I felt everything that she would go through. And in my mind, I realized time was a fallacy. And I said, you know what? She'll get over it in 7 years. I still would have left.
16-year-old brain.
Even though exactly. Like obviously very, very self-centered. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, my mom will survive. You know what? Even if she dies, she's going to come with us anyway.
Right.
She's just going to be hanging out with us again. This is all good. No matter what happens to her, she'll get through it. She's just going to end up here with us, so she's going to be okay. And then you know what? My dad said, no, you're still not coming. And then he showed me what it looked like for my brother. Now, my brother, very young, would overcome my death very quickly as I tortured my brother.
No.
And I'm sure he was already mom's favorite. He would just be more mom's favorite.
Right.
So, you know, he would get over me within a year or maybe year and a half. And then he would be like, just, you know, he'd be just chill.
He's like, Sean, Schmon, whatever.
Exactly. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, when you're young, you heal differently. You handle grief differently. You go through things differently. And I still wanted to go. And then he told me, he said, Sean, he says, you can't come. He says, you're not finished here. You have more to do. And I was like, okay, what do I got to do? Like, really? I play guitar. I don't even want to finish high school. Like, what can I be doing here?
Yeah.
And at that point,
it's hard to see the big picture at 16. You're like, I don't know. I just want to hang out with my friends and be cool.
But they see a bigger picture for us.
Yeah.
And we all come into the world with an intention. I mean, it's not just me. Every single person on the screen that I'm looking at or that I can see or can't see, we all came into this world with an intention as well. And not one is greater than another. You know, we're all here have a purpose, right? And I was just kind of seeing a glimpse of my purpose. And then, you know, he then said that, Sean, he says, you don't know this yet, but one day, you know, you're going to be helping people. And I'm like, okay, with what? I'm thinking like playing guitar or something like this. He's like, no. He says, I want you to see this light. I really want you to focus on it. I know you can feel it. And I could feel it. It was like alive, and it felt like the reality of everything. And I don't know how else to describe it, but he was in that place. I couldn't see anything except this light that was radiating behind him. And it was the most enormous, brightest light I've ever seen in my life. And he says, one day you're going to be helping people understand this light and where we go and where we come from. And you'll be connecting here. And I said, well, how the hell am I supposed to do this? I mean, I didn't have any answers. Like I was trying to understand what my dad meant, but he then knew there was a life purpose that I couldn't see.
Right.
And he says, I want you to remember this. I said, what do I need to do? And he says, you don't have to do anything. It will just happen. And that's exactly what happened in my life was things unfolded in my life as they are now. And I mean, at 16 years old, was I ever going to be able to foresee or even think that I'd be an author, teaching a course, maybe getting my book published by Hay House, having a TV show? I would never, ever even dreamed of it because it wasn't even a thought in my mind.
Right.
But yet my dad knew that there was something like that was to connect. And that was it. Like, you know, he went home. He touched me in the forehead. I woke up on the couch and I remember seeing my dad. And, you know, I still miss my father.
Mm.
I miss him still every day. Like do I talk to him? Yes. Does he come into my mind? Yes, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it every day? No. And I think as grief goes through life, we don't think of our people maybe every single day. I think the longer they're gone, maybe it might be a few days that goes by and then you remember them, or it might be a week or so later, then you remember them. It might be a month later and then you remember them. And that's, as time has gone, it's like that with my dad now, that I don't think of my dad every day.
But it's funny how they show up when you're feeling like squeezed in life, like sometimes when you're struggling and then they just kind of pop into your mind, or something shows up, or a song, or you're just like, oh, they are still here with me, and they know what's going on, right?
Absolutely. They know what's going on, and they know when you really need them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to really talk to them too, because they might see that you're struggling, but maybe not know how hard you're struggling with something. Mm-hmm. So I always encourage people to have a relationship with the people that you love by just talking to them and out loud, like having a conversation. Nobody's around. If you're in your car by yourself,
mm-hmm.
If they think you're crazy. I mean, today you could be in your car talking to yourself and they think you're talking on the phone, for God's sake.
Exactly.
So I have these chit chats going on all the time. You could be walking around with your headset on. They think you're talking on the phone.
Exactly.
So, you don't look so crazy anymore talking to yourself. But, even now, after all these years, I still, wish to have a relationship with my dad. I invite him to be part of my life some days. And two stories that I'll talk about particularly that are really super awesome. The first one was in Hawaii, because I know you love Hawaii too, Jasmine.
Yes.
And it's like one of my most favorite places in the world. And it wasn't that long ago in Hawaii. It was actually just when COVID happened. I was in Hawaii in February. I went to the Big Island of Hawaii. I've never been there before, so I wanted to go there. I've been to Maui and Oahu. And so I went there, and I went up on the volcano on the Big Island and, to watch the sunset. Mm-hmm. Now, Michelle, my partner, was with me, and Ashley, her daughter, and it's pretty cold up on these places. And they didn't want to get out of the car. They got out, they're like freezing. They're like, nobody's there but us. And I'm like, okay, so I'm out there. I'm freezing, but you know what? I'm going to stand outside. I'm going to watch the sunset. Oh, yeah. And I thought, what better time to communicate to my dad or to my loved ones. And Michelle's in the car. I don't have to just talk to her. I'm talking to them. I said, I'm thinking about all the people I love. I'm thinking about my grandmom. I'm thinking about my great grandparents, my Aunt Nancy, my dad, and everybody that's over there. And I just love them. And I'm just like, guys, this is such an incredible time being here. And I know the other side is probably perfect, but I'd really, really appreciate if you guys would just hang out with me here. Just spend some time with me on the island. I'd really like it, on this time where I'm not really working. I'm just chilling and relaxing and just trying to enjoy life, that you could be with me. Mm-hmm. And so I invited them into my life. And then in the sun set, and I got in the car. It was cold. We drove back to our Airbnb spot, and it was pretty much, we could see the ocean. We were on like the third or fourth floor. I think it was the third floor. We got up the next day. It was like our morning ritual for the 2 weeks that we were there. It was like, we get up, we have coffee, and we sit there for 3 hours. And you just chill and you watch the sun come up and you hear all the morning doves. It's like heaven. It's as closest to heaven that you can. It really is. And it's, you're just, what are we going to do? Well, we're thinking about maybe going to the beach later or whatever, but nothing like no
big decisions, right?
Yeah, nothing.
Do we get some shaved ice? Do we get some good Kona coffee, or do we go to the beach?
Exactly. Yeah, nothing too crazy. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about the volcano, and thinking if my people are with me. And then me and Michelle are sitting on the deck again, 3 floors up, and I look off up in the sky, maybe about 30 feet away from the deck up, and there's a little white feather, about this big, maybe a half inch. And it's like eerily floating down. I mean, I don't think, and I don't run around picking up every feather and thinking that it's like a sign from my parents or whoever, or my dad, or, it has to be pretty special. Mm-hmm. This feather is floating extra slow. It's like it defying gravity. And it's just floating down slow. And I'm watching in slow motion. I'm like, Michelle, she's like, looking at her phone. I said, you see that feather? And she stops and she goes, yeah, it's like really weird. That's like weirdly floating down super slow. And then as we watch it, it's like all in slow motion. It's just like taking a minute. It just floats past the deck. Now, again, third floor off the main ground area.
Right.
And I hear a voice in my head that says, Shawn, put out your hand. So I hold up my hand. Michelle goes, what the hell are you doing? I don't know. I just put up my hand. Somebody said, put out my hand. And then the feather floated back up and then came right towards me. And it was like really in slow motion. And it landed right in the palm of my hand.
That's crazy.
It was like super cool. And, being a psychic medium for 20 some years, I mean, to me, that's special.
Mm-hmm.
That, the feather, can show up in different ways for different people, but to have that happen the way it did.
It almost has to be like over the top, because you've probably seen so many bizarre things that like, it has to be like really get your attention for it to be something.
Right. For me, that's what it's like. Cause I mean, I do this all the time. And, but I'm looking for those unique things. Do they happen to me because I'm a psychic medium every other day? No, they don't. Do they happen for other people that I'm around? Yeah, because their people know they're coming to talk to me, or I'm going to meet with them, or I'm going to speak to them about something. So they're looking for something unique to get their attention. And then when they come to me, the first thing they tell me about is the little unique thing that they just did to get their attention.
Right. Yeah. Like, remember yesterday?
Oh my God, it just happened yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they tell me, and I'll talk about that in a little bit in a minute. But, just for me, I mean, one part of Spirit Talker Tribe is doing readings, giving your energy to other people, and using that language that I call the language of spirit, which is universal language, which is like clairvoyance, which is inner seeing, clairsentage, which is like vibing and feeling things out, clairaudience, which is hearing, and claircognizance, which is just knowing certain things, and putting it all together and giving messages. But sometimes a connection to spirit is just your personal connection. And selfishly, we all need it sometimes. We do. We need it for whoever that we're thinking of, that we love and such. And to me, just recently, it's what now, September, just seems like the other freaking day, but I'm like 40 freaking 9, if you can imagine it.
Oh my gosh.
It just seems like my birthday just happened. I'm gonna be freaking 50 before you know it. I'm like just an old man here. And so a few weeks before, because since like Hawaii, I haven't anything huge, this has been a few years from my dad or anything like that. So I started talking to my dad. He used to send me dimes and blue jay feathers and things like that sometimes. And I really was looking for something special. So I said, Dad, I haven't felt you around in a while. I'd really like to receive something from you. I said, maybe throw me a couple dimes, because once in my house, I would talk to my dad, thinking about my dad. I'd be in the house all alone. And then out in the living room, I heard a dime hit the floor. Now, nobody's home but me. And I hear this ding. Wow. I go out in the middle of the floor, there's a dime sitting there. I'm like, thanks, Dad. So I really wanted something like that again. And I asked him for a couple dimes. And I forgot about it. Weeks have gone by. And anyway, I'm sitting, I get up, it's my birthday. Michelle goes to work, she has to work. And the day before, I was like, it's a no shave day. I'm not cleaning my hair. I'm just wearing a baseball hat. I'm like, I'm just going to bum around the house, right? And that's what I was going to do my birthday, because Michelle's working. I got nowhere to be. I'm just going to chill.
It's my day.
So I was going to put on my hat again, still two-day no shower. I was going to do the guy thing. But so anyway, I go to get my hat. And in front of my hat, there's 2 dimes. And I look at it and I just say, Dad, I said, first I called Michelle, actually.
Right.
I said, Michelle, did you put 2 freaking dimes in front of my hat last night or something, or this morning or whatever? I said, it's a big thing with my dad, right? And she goes, yeah. She said, I don't have any money. I have 0 money in my wallet. I'm not putting 2 dimes out there to make you think it's your dad. Just so
right.
And I said, are you sure you didn't put him? She said, I didn't. So I said, fine. And then she went on to her work. So I then spoke to my dad. I said, Dad, thanks. I know this was you. And I had a chance in that, maybe that day, because it was my birthday, it gave me an opportunity just to speak to him again, to remind me to communicate to him, have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
And I did. So I started to talk to him and thank him for showing up at birthday and sending the dimes and actually hearing me. And then, I was wondering why I didn't show up, but I guess he was waiting for just that special time.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew it was my birthday coming. So he waited till then to get my attention.
Yeah.
And now again, I'm the only one in the room in my home. And after I'd done talking to my dad, I can feel him there. I can sense him there. I can feel his presence, I know he can hear me. I can feel his, just him being with me. And then as I go to walk away from the dresser where my hat was, I put my hat on and somebody lifted up the latch on my dresser and dropped it.
Oh.
So it kind of gave me the EBGBs, but am I scared? No.
Yeah.
Because I know who it is.
Right.
I knew it was my dad. And it was just like his unique way of saying, hey, I heard you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the language of spirit teaches, that's what Spirit Talker Tribe teaches. It teaches the nuts and bolts of the language and how to get there, how to raise your energy, how to clear your space and invite spirit communication to create space in your mind. There's so many things that I teach in Spirit Talker Tribe. It's awesome.
It is. It really
but
is.
Also, it's really about you having a connection to spirit and whatever format that you feel is right for you. And I can't think of anything more special than having a connection to the people that you love, even if it doesn't happen all the time. But knowing that you're safe, knowing that you're loved, and knowing that your people are still with you and visiting you and spending time with you. I think that's it shifts people's lives.
Oh yeah. And just to know that it doesn't, a lot of people are afraid of spirit. So to teach them that it's not scary. And you teach even about energetic boundaries. And, I love what you said about the language of spirit, because it is different for everybody. Once you learn more about the clairs, you'll understand what I mean. But, how I receive information or connection or feelings is totally different than, say, you or Shirley or Cindy or whoever's here, right?
Right.
And another huge thing is the awareness. It just makes you more aware. You're more plugged in, and you get to see those magical moments that you've probably been missing all along. They've all been there, but you actually will start noticing because you are on this awareness, this conscious adventure, right? This journey.
Yeah. I mean, in the language itself of how they communicate, that is a language. The signs, the symbols, the little things they do to get your attention, that's part of that communication. But if you're to actually receive information from spirit to validate and give to another person, there's a way that they communicate to people like me. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy to understand. It may be a little bit unknown about how to work with it all, but one, it's trust.
Yeah.
Approaching it from a loving, good space as opposed to a fear place. Smudging, which is an indigenous practice, but smudging is part of every culture. Mm-hmm. Whether you're Catholic or East Indian or Hindu or whatever it may be, there's a form of smudging in every religion. So there's a reason for that. There's power into it. And it's like the words that your prayers that you infuse into your smudge or the smoke that you surround yourself with, that holds that energy in that space. And, you're always safe and protected in that. And, and so when you set intentions of who you're going to speak to, who you're inviting in, I want people to understand that, because that's a big part of that as well. Other than your loved ones, especially if you're going to start inviting spirits in that you don't know.
Yes.
Right. And then if you run into a ghost here or there, you're prepared. You know what energy to approach them from, how to help them if need be. And, and I mean, and this is another misconception I wish wasn't out there. I mean, everybody's watching ghost shows too, thinking there's ghosts everywhere, and they're not. There might be some here and there, but it's very rare actually to come across a northbound spirit. In my experience, are they out there? Yeah, they're out there, and they're just people. And instead of demonizing them or making them evil, or that's what religion has done for years and years and years, is rather than all spirits bad. So we have this fear when we approach even if your dad shows up and gives you a couple dimes.
Right.
And that seems so sad to me, because it's a simple connection and communication that you should just be thankful and grateful that has happened for you in life. And it definitely doesn't come from fear at all.
No,
I mean,
it's
imagine
definitely-
that you were all deceased, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you're in the spirit world and you have people you care about. You want to kind of subtly let them know that you're around. Wouldn't you be visiting them and trying to get your attention sometimes, or their attention here with this, that, or whatever? Of course you would, especially if you're a mother. If you're a mother, you have children, my God, you're going to want to like let your kids know that you're okay. You know, you don't want to see them like grieving and crying and struggling. You're going to see live life. You want to see them engaged in life, because again, like that vision I had, even with my mom, again, someday you're going to be with me. We will be together. There is no end. It's just, it may seem long. I mean, man, I was just, again, 28 the other day. I swear to God. Me
too.
I don't know what the hell this belly fat came from my head. Like a knee fat, I hair growing in my ears. Like, what the hell is going on? It's like I'm an old man all of a sudden.
We're shrinking, our eyes, all of it.
It's been going so fast. Before you know it, we'll all be having this conversation in the spirit world.
It's interesting too, though, when you talk about the spirit world and as a mother or parent, I think people will discover too, if they decide to take this journey and dive into this, is that you actually have a healthier, if you happen to have a challenging relationship with a parent in life, like you have a healthier relationship with them in their passing. Like I find I'm way more connected to my dad now than I had been for the past 15 years in life, which is, I feel really beautiful. Like it really is so good for my heart.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little story. This is not mine, mind you. Again, this is how the Indigenous way.
I love it.
As an Indigenous person, when we want to say something, we say it with a story.
Yeah, I love it.
It's just the way it rolls. And this is, again, not even my story, but it's connected to somebody that I've connected to before. And I'm sure everybody here has probably heard of Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
Right? A phenomenal author, speaker, teacher who passed away, I don't know how many years ago now, but it's been several. And I've actually done a reading for his family, and his daughter actually wrote me a book, Serena Dyer, which is on the top back parts from Serena Dyer, which is Dr. Wayne Dyer's daughter. And I actually have a recording of Dr. Wayne Dyer speaking to me from the spirit world.
I remember that.
I can't put out publicly, but I have his voice. When I was doing his reading for his daughter, he said one thing, and it's something he talked about in life, and it was, I am. And I have a recording of him saying that from spirit. It's super cool. But, everybody's teaching us something. And I didn't have the life that some people have had with their parent or whoever that has been a struggle in their life. And Dr. Wayne Dyer was an orphan for a while, and his mom, because his mom couldn't raise him, and he ended up in an orphanage because she had several children, wasn't able to financially care for them because his dad was an alcoholic and left their family with nothing. And so anyway, Wayne became an alcoholic himself at one point there in life. And a lot of because he was blaming and angry with certain people that had hurt him, like his dad.
Yeah.
And he actually then one day after he, later in life, he went to look for his dad in the town that he thought he was. As he grew up and became a man, and Wayne was becoming successful in life because he was like becoming an educator and stuff like that. He went to the town to find his dad because he was really going to tell his dad off about how hurt he was about what he did to their family. And eventually got to the town, and his dad was an alcoholic. So where would he go look for his dad? Was
local
the
pub.
Yeah, the local pub, right?
Yeah.
He's going to go to the bar and look for him. And he went there and, had a beer himself and then asked a waitress about this man, and she knew who he was. And she said, he used to live up the road. And he said, well, what do you mean he used to live up the road? Well, I'm pretty sure he died. So, I mean, this dichotomy of coming here to have this words with his dad, and now his dad, he realized his dad was deceased. He asked, do you know where he was buried? And she goes, I don't know. There's only so many graveyards here. I would check out this place or that place, and he might be in one of those. So he went looking and found his father's grave. And again, the reason why he went there was not to make peace, but he was going to go literally piss on his grave.
Hmm.
And because that's the worst thought he could do, was to, because he was hanging on to this anger.
Yeah. He was
And then he
pissed
got
off,
there.
literally.
He was literally pissed off, and he was just
Yeah.
literally just piss on him. And
Yeah.
when he got there, and I mean, he broke down.
Hmm.
He was carrying this anger for so long. And then he realized that his dad was probably one of his greatest teachers in life, because he taught him to be resourceful, in all of his situations. He taught him lessons that he didn't think that were important to him, but he taught him things that made him become the person he was.
Yeah.
And he forgave his father, and then told his dad before he left that he had forgiven him. And he, after that day, he had a relationship with his dad.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
even though he, all these horrible things that he felt about his dad, he had to let them go, because it was affecting him emotionally, physically. He was drinking. He realized he had a drinking problem himself, and he started to shift his life and change the way he looked at things, and forgave his dad.
Wow.
And one of the things I saw, because when I talked to Serena, and one of the things I saw with Wayne in the spirit world was, I saw this riverbank, and there was like a slope on the riverbank, and he was sitting there barefoot, and Wayne turned and looked at me, and then he was sitting there with his dad on the other side.
Right.
No, that's going to make me cry a little bit, because it was so powerful of an image, because he was having a relationship with his dad that he wasn't able to have in life.
Yeah. Wow.
And I got the sense that he was learning about what his dad's intention was for him, why he was the way he was, and what he taught him in life to, even greater, to empower him to be the man that he was always meant to be. And I'll take it back to my dad, just to kind of tie this all up at the end here. But my dad, when I saw him in the light, he says, Sean, you're not going to remember this. And he says, but me and you had this plan before we were both born.
Contract.
Right. I said, why would we make something so stupid as a contract for you to die and leave my life?
Right.
And he said, Sean, there's things you won't understand, but he said that we had this plan that I would die at this point in your life, and I would show you the light. I would help you remember who you were and where you came from. And I said, why you? And he says, because the greatest gift of love that I could give you is to die, so that you could see who you truly are. And I couldn't understand that. I didn't know who I was supposed to be. And it was, we have contracts with people that sometimes hurt us in life, or leave us in life, or affect us in certain ways, and we may not know why, but there's a reason for it, even if you don't understand it. And I mean, I would never want my dad to die if I could have it back. I mean, I don't know if I could. You can't take it back, but there was a contract that we had.
Yeah.
And I realized that, dying because you love somebody so much, and choosing to leave that life and affect that person because it's meant to shift who they are. It's the ultimate sacrifice that a parent could probably make, in a sense, to help their child become who they were meant to be in life. And I know that probably most of us, if you are a mother or father, if you had to give your life for your child, you probably would.
Yeah.
And when you're in a place on the other side, in light, knowing that is home, making a plan like this, at that place that, even dying isn't the end.
Yeah.
And it's a much easier choice to make there. When we're here, we think about it harder. And especially, I look at people that I've met in life have lost children.
Yeah.
And how has it affected them, and where they've gone, and the next steps they've taken in life to effectively, shape the world that they now live from that space. And it's a very powerful thing to think that we would make any type of contracts like anything, but we do, because again, as you know, none of us are getting out of this world alive.
That's right.
We're all here on borrowed time.
We really are. Yeah.
But if we're here, why? What purpose do each of us have? What are we each here fulfilling? What is wanting to express itself through you, as you? What is wanting to come through you into the world? And are you giving that wholeheartedly? Are you giving it with your whole heart? Is fear blocking you? Is fear limiting you in some way?
Yeah.
Are you going to continue to let that in your life stop you from fulfilling whatever it is that you choose to fulfill in your life? Whether it's a coach, whether it's an empowering person, it's an author, a speaker, a healer, you know, an artist, a writer, whatever that is. I mean, are you going to let that limit you in life?
I like him so going, preach, brother, right now, like so much. Like talk about, you know, trying to live from the greatest expression of yourself, from your heart. And that's it, right? This is kind of, that's where I come into play too, is the whole like moving through your fear blocks or your limiting beliefs. And a lot of it is from spirit or grief or patterns or, you know, and like you said, why are we here? Like, let's live. Don't live like you're dying, live. Like, let's really step in.
Right.
And this is a part of it, understanding the bigger picture.
It is. And I mean, a spirit, that connection to knowing that there's a much greater purpose to us in life and that who we are rather than just this physical form is a big part of that. And that's why I teach Spirit Talker Tribe.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to run though, because
I know. Any last things you want to say? We can all stay on.
I wish I would have got some questions from people, but I don't even think I have time to answer one because I'll just tell another stupid story and I'll be here forever.
I think everybody's still like, you know, everybody's in. You're sharing like beautiful things. I know you need to go. So if you need to go, I'm going to just stay for a couple minutes, guys. You can stay with me and I'll just kind of give your information for you and I'll include all the links.
I'm giving a book away.
Yes.
So from all the people that are here, I mean, Jasmine's going to pick a name from all the people that have attended the live, and I'm going to sign it and I'll send it to you in the mail. And hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed writing it or having a ghostwriter write it for me.
Right.
I did write 4 chapters myself in there. But,
it's a great book.
I'm not a skilled writer, just so you know. I spell everything wrong.
You're a skilled storyteller, though.
I'm a good storyteller.
Yes.
And, you know, sometimes you have to manifest great people in your life that can help you in other ways. And I think that's what you guys all, you know, part of that manifestation and pulling energy into people and such. So,
and we're kind of an expression of you, really. Like when we're in your program, like, you know, you're helping us with our full expression of ourselves.
I'm helping you be you.
Yeah.
And connected to spirit.
Yeah.
Because it's not about being me on the stage, unless that's the part you choose to be. But it's about being you and having that connection. And I want to help people bridge that understanding of how that all takes place and doing it from a good, loving space without fear.
And you do a really good job.
Okay, I'm going to go. Thank you, everybody.
Sean, thank you,
Sean.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Night. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
We might see you in the next, 5 minutes on your live.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Oh, wasn't that amazing?
Just what I
Awesome.
needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was good.
He's such a good storyteller. And I mean, I've heard some of these stories many times. I've been around for a while now. And they're still good every time. Like they're still juicy every time I hear it because it hits you different. You know, when you can watch a movie a couple different times and it hits you different each time. And oh my God, his story around his dad, like, oh, you could just feel your heart swelling. And that's what I love about Sean is he's just very genuine and heart-centered and real, right? A lot of men especially don't want to be vulnerable and don't want to let people see that side of them. And I love that he allows people in that way. So yeah, I don't know if I can answer any questions, but I am going to do a draw. I can't do it right now, but I'm going to take a log of everybody that's here. There was about 44 people that came tonight, which is amazing. Thank you. And what else did I want to share? Yeah, I'll send. What's that?
I just laughed. I was trying to put the thumbs up and I couldn't get it in there.
You'll just do it in real life. Here you go. I don't. Yeah. So I'll post this video to one of my pages anyway, probably my Sogo body therapy page. And I'll also put it in, I have a group, people that aren't in my Optimal Self Society. It's a membership, kind of like Sean does for Spirit Talker. I have one for empowerment. So those of you who aren't a part of it, I do have an interest group if you want to like poke around and see what it's about. But I'll post the video. I'll post the video in a couple of different locations, but it will be for the optimal self. It'll be on your Kajabi page. I know a bunch of you want to jump into Sean's live, so if you need to peace out, that's okay. But when I do post the video, I'll also post all his information if you are curious about his program. If you sign up by the 23rd, I think it is, for his program, you get entered into a draw and you can get an hour of free coaching with him. So that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I want to get coached by Sean, you know? Yeah. So does anybody have any questions for me? I don't know if you have something for Sean that I can either pass along, or maybe I can kind of answer just from my own experience with the program. Or if you have any questions about the program, I can probably answer any. But if not, don't even worry. You can either unmute yourself or write it on the side. And if you don't, no big deal.
I have a question, Jasmine.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, Heather.
How is the intake only like once a year for the program, or is there a window where you can squeak in?
So basically he opens the door. I think the doors have been open since maybe the 5th or something. And he closes the door at the end of the month. And then starting October is like the beginning of the program. Okay. So it is like an open door, closed door kind of time window. Okay, I'm sure if you're like the first week of October and you're like, I really want in, and you got in touch with him, he might modify.
So,
you might.
So end of September then. Okay, I'll have to watch for that. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? I think
whoever that was, though, I think it's like, I don't know if she realizes that it's open now and it closes at the end of September.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, by October, you have to sign up by then. Yeah. Yeah.
Very exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm in I've done it. It's a 3-year program, and I know he's condensing it to 2 just because it's more manageable, because when you're a busy person, but you still get all the content that you would in 3. And I'm telling you guys, like, this program, it was exactly what I needed when I needed it. And it changed my life, not just spirit, but the community, like the people I have met in this group. And there's a lot of you here, which is amazing. That speaks to, people that are already in the group. They're here to listen to Sean more. You know what I mean? And the community is amazing. The friendships I've made, just the connections of, like, there's a lot of women in it, and which I love, because I love working with women and women energy. And it's just, we all seem to empower each other, support each other. It's like this unconditional, heart-centered, spiritual, which I love, program. And Sean does a really good job, and he's very humble, and knows his shit. And I highly recommend it. I just realized somebody's trying to get in, and I see Laura Conrad. You missed the boat. Sorry. Yes. Somebody asked me.
I'm just curious. Everyone's talking, but I must have missed something on that. Is that just for a private group?
For Sean's program?
Well, no, they're just saying I'm going to check out the live. I'm going to check out the live.
Oh, you know what? So he has an interest group right now. It's kind of like I did in the beginning, where I had the Optimal Self Society interest group. So he has an interest group. You can just look up Spirit Talker Tribe interest group, and he's probably live right now. So if you wanted to jump into that, it's open to the public. You just got to join the group. And I think it's just like you join. I don't think he has to admit you or anything like that.
Oh, okay. So it's just like Google. I just Google it and.
Oh, it's in Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, on Facebook. Yeah.
So it's a Facebook group. I think it's just called Spirit Talker Tribe interest group. So he's probably going live right now. And I'm sure if you looked it up, you'd probably see his little face there. And
sure. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
So if no one else has any questions, I know some of you want to jump onto that live. You can go. I don't know nothing, no stress. But if anybody has any questions, anyone else? We're good. We can go. We can enjoy the rest of your evening. Yeah, you good, Heather? Okay. Yes.
Oh. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Sorry about that. I was just wondering, so how much did it help you to open up your skills as a medium and your intuitive skills being in Sean's group from when you joined the group to when you finished his program? Do you find that it really helped you to tune into your
So Yeah. So part of like my initial reason for joining was because I've always been interested in intuition and mediumship, and with my energy work that I do, things would come through, but I didn't trust what I was getting. I'm like, am I thinking that? Am I making it up? So once I started going through the program and doing all the exercises, you know, it's like a building block, like you build the foundation and then you learn more and more and more, and you just get more, because there's exercises, you get to exercise, you know, connecting with spirit, connecting with being grounded, connecting with shielding your energy, learning how to cut cords. And I mean, some of the stuff I already knew, but it just forced me in a good way to practice and really be committed to my spiritual growth. Plus, you have this amazing community. You can share all these really cool, weird things that start happening because you're aware and you're plugged in, and now you're an open vessel for communication with spirit. So from 2018 to now, like, I don't know if I ever would have told people like confidently, oh yeah, I'm intuitive and I talk to dead people. You know, I don't advertise I'm a medium, but I definitely get mediumship stuff when I treat people. Ask Karen. Happened recently. And sometimes I don't even mean to, like, I could just be having a conversation and stuff will show up, but it totally changed my intuitive game. Definitely. Especially as, you know, this is part of my work. You know, when I work with empowerment coaching, even when I'm working with somebody, like I've always kind of had that feeling anyway, energetically, but now it's like really embodied after 3 years. Like I've been practicing religiously, I guess you could say. It's a practice. It really is. Like anything, like the empowerment stuff I teach, you know, becoming self-aware, you know, sticking to your boundaries, all of this stuff we want to like level up. It's a practice. You know, you can't just kind of pick it up once in a while and expect yourself to be a rock star. You can't learn to run when you don't even know how to crawl, you know?
Yeah.
How's that for an answer? I'm like, anyone else?
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, May and I both laughed when you said you had people to tell your weird stories to, because we just had that conversation last weekend.
Oh, did you? Yeah, that's right. You don't feel like you're crazy. That's the best part.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's cool because there is so many, like, you know, I kept a journal and I go back now and I forgot half the things that happened, but I read it over. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is so a thing. Like there's just so many really, he was talking about being in Maui. I'll just give you guys a little story, whoever wants to stick around and hear it. So weirdly, so I just joined in October, and then both Sean and I were with our families in Maui at the same time. Didn't know. And anyway, we were going to try to connect, but it just didn't work because we're in different parts of the island. But so my family, we did this trip with another family, you know, Tara, the sound healing practitioner. So she's my bestie. Our two families rented Westphalias, those retro VW vans, you know. And anyway, so we're tripping around the island. And while we were there, it was Adam's dad's birthday. My husband is Adam, by the way. So it was my husband's dad's birthday. My husband's very skeptical, but I'm not. So it was his birthday, and I'm like wishing I didn't really know his dad. I only met him a few times before he passed. And so I was talking to his dad. I'm like, Lloyd, man, I would love for you to show up for Adam today in some way, or just like, you know, come visit, something. Like, we're open. You know, the day kind of went on, we're busy, didn't really think about it. And then Adam's asleep in the van, and I go to crawl. I'm always like the last one to bed. So I go to crawl into bed. He's already sleeping. And right on my bed, right where I was going to move the blanket, there's a dime. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, seriously? So that was like, thank you, Lloyd. Like, it was just like really, I took a picture and I showed Adam. He's like, okay. You know, he didn't, you know, he's like, you lost some change. I'm like, dude, come on. Anyway, so I thought it was kind of neat. He had like a Maui story too, and about the dimes and the dad. And like, there's just like cool stuff like that. And another time I was talking about, oh my God, there's so many. I could tell you so many. I could, same thing. I could tell you a million stories. Yeah. So I'll give you one more though. So this one time I have one of my closest, it was like an old boyfriend, but we remained friends. I grew up with him. We're just like, we were really close friends, and he died on my daughter's birthday, which was weird. But his symbol for me was a Blue Jay, and I didn't even realize why. It's because I met him at a Blue Jays game. But anyway, so I was talking to my coworkers about him at my studio. So we're talking about Chris, and and Blue Jay is my symbol for him. And then whatever, we go to leave, and the girls leave, and I get in my car, and it's jammed in my windshield wiper is a Blue Jay feather. Like, we're like just talking about him. It's like, are you kidding me? I just started crying. I'm like, oh my God. You're like, coincidence? Maybe. I don't think so. I like to trust that it's, the
Yeah.
spirit's listening,
For sure.
So I love stuff like that. So, yeah. So anyone else have any more questions about the course? I mean, like,
I do.
okay.
Do you know Silver Birch Spirit Connection?
Okay. I was just there today
Okay.
for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I took a course with her. I was wondering if it was similar because I wasn't sure. I got connected because I got connected with you guys through Jen. And then somehow I got connected to Spirit Connection through somebody else on Facebook with Jen. So I was just wondering if,
right.
because that's what kind of it was like I think it was last year I took the course and it was about like intuition and like we did a little bit of mediumship, but not much.
Right.
Intuition and like spirit, like just reading like what you like you were saying, like if you hear it through the ears or like sound or something.
Yeah. All the
Like-
different clairs.
Yeah, the clairs. Yeah, mine's the sound one. But I was just curious if you knew, or if anybody knew, if that was like similar to that group, but maybe like a little more in depth. I don't know. That's what it
I
sounds.
feel like this is a lot more in depth. He has got, it's kind of like he's on Kajabi too, where he has a whole platform, lessons, exercises, monthly or weekly live Facebook lives. So, and it's a year long. So I don't know how long Carol's course is, but I also know she's she's a great intuitive and
Oh, she's
everything.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might
I'm-
just look different. And maybe
Yeah.
that's your launch pad. Like maybe with her was your foundation. And now if you're, you're curious
Yeah.
to go deeper, Sean might be an option.
Yeah. Well, when I took that course, it was one of the times that I really felt like me.
Mm.
Like
That's
I
what
was
I mean. You can be crazy and
Oh,
everybody
like-
understands.
yeah, it's just it was like, oh, is that what this is? Because like I always hear like voices in my like coming from behind. I'm like, what's that? And it's just like, yeah, it just really felt like I was home. Like when I first went in there, I didn't know anybody or her. And then when she started talking, I wanted to run out. But then I'm like, no, it felt good. So I was,
Good.
yeah, I'll have to take a look.
Yeah,
Sorry.
check it out. I mean, you can just like look on his website and see if it resonates, right? And now that you have some intuition background, you can sit with it and feel into it. Like, do I need to do this? Is this something for me?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, when I went to Carol's class, that's what I did was because I wanted to leave, but I was like, no, you got to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Well,
listening
if you go on that Facebook interest group page, he's already been posting stuff all month.
Yeah.
That you can also go, like he's posted a number of things that you can look through and see if it's speaking to you.
Yeah, like little lessons, basically, right? Little information,
Yeah.
lives, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else want to share or ask a question? I'm like, see, he doesn't have anyone working for him, but he's got me working right now. No, I'm just kidding.
And all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We're all preaching his good work, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we do. When you believe in something or something feels really good, you want to talk about it. A lot of times we talk too much about the negative, and it's so nice to like share the juicy good stuff, because this is where we need to be, especially in these days of like with life the way it is right now, right? We really want to just step into that higher vibe.
Be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to, I know our numbers are dwindling here and that's totally cool, but I'm here to answer any more questions. Anyone else? Yes, no, maybe so. I think we're good. It's a wrap.
It's all right.
It's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. That was great. And I just, like I said, I love having
Good night,
Sean.
everybody.
What's
Thanks,
that?
Jasmine.
Oh, you're welcome. I love
Definitely.
having Sean, because the thing is we both can banter and talk a lot. Like I have to consciously shut myself up so I can give him time to talk. Like
Sorry.
there's no lack of words.
Definitely hit some good points for me tonight. So thank you.
Good. This is it, right? The course is not just about, you can do it for your work, like if you're getting into the healing realm, or you can just do it for your own soul. And I think a lot of us end up doing it. Well, we do it for both, right?
Right. And the
So-
community that you keep saying.
Oh man, the community. Girls, fucking love you all. Seriously. Changed my
Back at-
life. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you guys go.
Right. Yeah.
I love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have
Love
a great
you,
night. Thank you for showing up.
Saturday. Bye.
Yes, bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.